Hey there everyone, welcome back to the live stream. This is part 2 of learning CSS with very little previous knowledge. So in the last live stream, we did CSS tutorial. We did CSS home, introduction, syntax, selectors, and CSS how to. So today I'm going to be trying to do CSS comments, CSS colors, and CSS backgrounds. So without any further ado, let's set our clock. Okay, so let's begin. So CSS comments. Comments are not displayed in the browser, but they can't help document your source code. Okay. Comments are used to explain the code and may help you when you need to edit the source code later at a later date. Okay. Comments are ignored by browser. A CSS comment is placed inside the star element and starts with a forward slash asterisk and ends with the asterisk forward slash. So this is a single line comment. Let's try it. So basically what comments are is that they are used to tell us what is happening in the code. For example, over here, let's say someone was new to CSS and they didn't know what was happening. So this over here would tell us that this is a single line comment. I mean, over here it is not explaining the code, but it's just showing us how to add a comment. So a comment is basically what? A forward slash asterisk, then your comment, and then you close it with the asterisk and then the forward slash. Note how this comes first and this comes inside. So you close the inside one first and then you close the outside one. That's how we go about it in HTML. Um, so yes, so the P is color red and everything in the paragraph is color red. So that was that. Then yeah, over here, this is where they have explained what is happening in the code for us. Sets color, text color to red, and we can see that the text color is indeed red. So this has helped us understand what the code is about, right? Ah, okay. So even in the middle of a code line, so you can add comments wherever you want in the code. So they say we can add it in the middle of a code line as well. So for example, over here, so I noticed that this comment was at first over here, the text color one, but now we have made it over here. Now notice that even though our comment says red and the color given over here is blue, the text will be in blue color because the browser does not recognize any of the comment. It does not implement what the comment has to say. If so, even if I wrote whatever I want to write, the browser will not recognize this. See, nothing changes. But at the same time, if I change this blue to red, the browser will immediately recognize and change this, right? So let's move on. Comments can also span multiple line. Yep, that is that. Okay. From the HTML tutorial, you learn that you can add comments by using the distinct syntax. In the following example, use a combination of HTML and CSS comments. Okay, so let's try the exercise, what it is. Okay, so this is not really an exercise because you can't have a comment exercise, obviously, because you can decide to add whatever comment there is. So now this comment is telling us that all these paragraphs will be in red, and this is telling us that the text color will be red. So that was CSS comments. Now we'll be moving into CSS colors. Okay. Colors are specified using predefined color names or RGB, HGX, HSL, RGB, HSLA values. So there are 140 standard color names that we can use in CSS. So the 140 standard colors are the ones that we are talking about, predefined color names. So for example, we have the color tomato, orange, dodger blue, medium sea green, light gray, violet, slate blue, gray, and other one, two, how many, and other 132 standard colors. So the first property we have is CSS background color. You use this to set the background color for HTML elements. So for example, this is the H1. So we'll just add style and then we'll add background color to be Dodger blue and then we'll have this thing over here. Similarly for the paragraph, if you want the color tomato, we'll add, so this is an inline CSS, notice that, right? So we'll have our style equal to double quote background color is tomato. Remember to add the semicolon and then you close it and then you add your name. So that was background color. Now we have text color. So now instead of having the background colored, we can also have the text colored. So we have hello world, then we have our paragraph in different colors. So over here, the same thing, style, this, and yeah. So this time for text color, it is not, notepad. So it is not going to be text color. This is wrong. For text, we just go with color. Okay, great. Then we also have CSS border color. So we have background, we have the text itself colored, and now we also have their border colored. So the same first for so the syntax for this one, the border color is you have to first give the border pixels, how thick should they be? Should they be solid or should they be dotted or the type of border you want? If you're doing IGCSE, then I'm sure they will specify the kind of border needed. And then at the end, you have your color that you want it to be. Then we have CSS color values. So in CSS, colors can also be specified using RGB, which I think stands for red, blue, green values, HEX values. I think this is hue, saturation, and lightning values. And RGBA, I think the A stands for alpha. Similarly, A for alpha over here. Same as color name tomato. So instead of writing tomato, we can also write RGB this numbers and hashtag FF. So I think H is hexadecimal if I remember correctly. And then so any of these four that you write will still give you the same color. So same as color name tomato, but this time 50% transparent. You add the zero point 0.5 and zero point 0.5 for HSLA and RGBA. So for tomato and 50% transparent, note that we do not have HEX value. So this is just an example. You will learn more about this one in the next chapters. Okay. So let's go to red, green, blue. So in CSS, a color can be specified as an RGB value using the formula RGB. So the R stands for red, green, and blue. So each parameter RGB defines the intensity of the color between 0 and 255. Just a second. Yeah. So 255 is the biggest number or the highest or maximum number you can use. So if I have 255 in the value in the place of R, which is red, and 0 over here and here, this means that what will be displayed over here will be the color red and nothing else. So red is set to its highest value and the others are set to 0. Similarly, I can have 02550, which will give me pure green, and I can have 00255, which will give me pure blue. So to display black, we have 000, and to display white, we have 255, 255, 255, because we know that white is formed when all the colors are joined together, okay, or mixed together. So we can do an experiment as well. So let's do red 131, maybe let's do green. Okay, let's do green 72 and let's do blue. Yeah, so this is the color we get. So now, as we said, if we have 255 of everything, we get white. And if we have 0 of everything, we get black, right? So shades of gray are often divided using equal values for all three light sources. So if you want the shades of gray, we just put in the same values at each place. So the lower the number, the darker the shade of gray. and the higher the number, the lighter the shade of green. And then, yes, the A stands for alpha. So the alpha parameter is between 0 and 1. 0 standing for fully transparent and 1 standing for not transparent at all. So mixing, so you can also do an experiment here. Let's see what we get when we have 0, 0, 0, which should give us black. But because the alpha or transparency is at 0.5, we are getting green. So if I brought it back to 0, so that means that there's full transparency, so it will be white. And if I brought it all the way to 1, which means there's no transparency, which means you cannot see behind it, it becomes completely black. So yes, this is how it works. This is the tomato color as we remember. So let's go to HEX or hexadecimal. So yeah, hexadecimal is specified by hashtag RRGGBB. So RR is for red, GG is for green, and BB is for blue. Just the same way as RGB. So okay, so RRGG and BB are hexadecimal values between 00 and FF. So just like the way we have 255 as the highest or maximum number in RGB, in HE, I'm sorry, in HEX we have FF to be the highest number. Um, yes. So if I wanted to display red, instead of doing RGB 25500, I'll instead do FF0000. Now notice that since it is two places, we cannot just have 10 for green and 10 for blue. It is compulsory that each place will have two zeros. Okay, remember that. So we can do the experiment by mixing over here as well. So I can have red to be 6A, maybe green to be C4, and blue to be... Okay, let's just go with complete blue. And we get this color. So that means 6A of red, C4 of C4 of green, and all blue. So FF of blue. So shades of gray are often defined using equal values for all three light sources, similar to RGB. So we also have 3-digit hexadecimal value. So this happens when you repeat the number. For example, not necessarily repeat. So let's say we have hashtag 334455. So you see at the red's place, you're repeating the number. So it's 33. At green's place, you're also repeating. And at 5's place, these two numbers are repeating. So you can just uh, clearly say that this is 345. Okay, and we can only use it when the numbers are repeating. Please note that. Yeah. So let's go to HSL, but before that, let's take a water break. Now remember to hydrate. Okay. So HSL stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. So hue is a degree on the color wheel from 0 to 360. 0 is red, 120 is green, and 240 is blue. Saturation and lightness are percentage value. So 0% saturation means it's a shade of gray and 100% is the full color. So over here we can see that because it's red, that means that its hue is going to be 0 and its saturation is going to be 100% to get the full color. And lightness is also a percentage color, as we said. 0% light means black, 50 is neither dark or gray, and 100% is white. So over here, the lightness is 50%. If I brought it to 0%, you will see that it's completely dark or black. And if I brought it to 100%, you'll notice that it's completely white. So as I decrease this, it brings it to its actual color. So let's keep it 50%. Similarly, you have the others. Um, in lightness and shades of gray. So it's only RGB and HSL that we have the alpha. So the alpha is similar over here, which has to do with transparency. But since you know that now, we'll continue. So we are done with HSL colors. Are there any exercise on this? Okay, no, I don't think so. Okay, so let's go to CSS background. Let's see how much time have we done. 14 minutes. Okay. The CSS background properties are used to add background effects for elements. So we have the background color, background image, background repeat, background attachment, background position, and the background shorthand property. Just a second. Okay, let's start. The first one we have is background color. We already discussed this during the colors property, if you remember carefully. So we have body, background color, light blue. So the entirety of the body will have the background color of blue. With CSS, a color is most often specified by a valid color name like the red, HEX, or RGB value, as we just discussed this before. So other elements have you can have different colors that apply to different elements. The div is like a section of it. So once I add div, the div, so like the p will overlap the div when you put it in HTML code, right? So you have div. So its opacity is 0.3. You can also state the opacity instead of alpha this time, right? So the opacity property specifies the transparency of an element, just like alpha. So the lower value, the more transparent, the higher value, the less transparent. So over here, opacity is 0, so you can clearly see the whole color, but over here, as opacity is very less, you can barely see the color. So yes, transparency using RGBA. So if you do not want to use the opacity, you can use the RGBA or HSLA. Yeah. So this is how you put it in code. So red, green, blue, A, and then we have a comment as we just looked into it today as well. So background color says the background color of an element. Let's go to background image. Just a second. Let me check something. Yeah, sorry, I had to go check on something. So we have the background image. So this property specifies an image to use as a background. Okay. So by default, the image is repeated, so it covers the entire element. This is the syntax you have. So you have background image, colon, you have to add URL, bracket, then you put your image name and followed by its extension in it, close it and you add your semicolon, and then you close the curly bracket. So this example shows a bad combination of text and background image. The text is hardly readable, and let's compare the two of them. So as we can see, when we have our website like this, we can barely read what is written over here. So when we zoom in, then we clearly realize this text is not easy to read on this background image. That is why it's not a good example of a background image. But when we look over here, we can clearly see it says that this page has the image as the background. We can clearly read it. So this is a good example of a background image. The background image can also be set for specific elements like the P element. Yes, we can do that. So yeah, we get background image. Now we have CSS background repeat. By default, the background image property repeats an image both horizontally and vertically. Some images should be repeated only horizontally or vertically, or they will look like this. Look like what? So they are being repeated. Okay, so we have a gradient over here, which is being repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 times. Okay, but maybe you just want it to be one straight thing and not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? Then this is where the CSS background repeat comes in. If the image above is repeated only horizontally, then we'll have background repeat X. But over here, if you want to repeat it vertically, it will become background repeat Y. Repeat Y, why is that? Let's look at that on this. Just a second. So just look at the syntax again. Background repeat, repeat Y. Okay. Okay, we have CSS here. So this is why it's X and Y. So see when we draw a graph, right? But let's try quickly. So this is our y-axis, and this is our x-axis. And that is why when we want to make it repeat vertically, so when we have, let's say, an image like this, and we want to make it repeat vertically like this, so in a vertical manner, that's why we say y-axis. But if you want to make a image repeat like this in the horizontal manner, we use the x-axis. Okay, I hope that's clear. Um, yeah, so background repeat, no repeat. So because CSS or HTML already repeats it horizontally and vertically, if you want an image not to repeat, then you can just simply write no repeat instead of repeat X or Y. So over here, as you can see, the background doesn't repeat. If we remove the no repeat, in fact, let's remove this. You'll see that the background, the tree in the background will repeat. Yep, it's repeating both horizontally and vertically, right? And CSS background position is used to specify the position of the background image. So in the previous example, you could see that the tree was overlapping over here, but once we sent it to the right top, it's now at the right side in the top hand side. So that's why it's no longer inter. It's no longer. How do we say intercepting? No, interfering in with the text. So these were the properties. Let's go to background attachment. So background attachment property tells whether the background image should be scrolled or fixed. So let's see. So we have either fixed or we have scroll. Okay. So if we have a background image to be fixed, that means that it will stay over here and it will not scroll. So once we scroll this, the background image will also scroll with the page. So the image is fixed over here, it will not move. So as you can see like this. But at the same time, when we have the scroll one, that means that as you scroll through the page, the image will also not be seen like this. Okay, that's what basically background attachment is. Wait, let me show you guys how to write it again. So note that you do not have to write so just background image and then fixed or scroll, whichever you want. So lastly, background, we have the shorthand property. So I think we use the shorthand property. So instead of writing all this together, we just write it in one go. That is the so instead of writing background color, image, repeat position, you just write background, then you write down your property. So we have an order in which we do it. So we have the color first, the image first, the repeat first, the attachment, and then the position. And then that's all. So these are all the CSS background properties that we needed to know. Just go over them, maybe pause the video or something like that. So they said, okay, so there's an exercise. Let's do the exercise before we end the video. Just set the background color of the H1 element to light blue. So background color, so BACK color. Let's see. Okay, correct. Next. Set paper.gif as a background image. So the page, okay, so BACK background color. So I remember we have to add URL. This so paper.gif. Wait, what happened? Background color. Yes. Wait, what seems to be the mistake? So paper.gif. Is it equals to? I don't think it equals equal. Let's see. Oh, sorry. It's background color and not English. My bad, my bad, my bad. Sorry. Please do not make silly mistakes like me, okay? Now they say, make the background image, not color. So background image, repeat only vertically. So background, repeat, because image is already here. And we want it to repeat vertically, so repeat for, not repeat. So let's, okay. Specify that the background image should be shown once in the top right corner. Okay, it should be shown once. So background repeat, and then we'll have background attach, background attachment. Wait, sorry, background position, which is the top right. And background should be showed once, it will be fixed. Yeah. Wait, no, sorry, it shouldn't repeat, so it becomes no repeat. Let's see. Okay. Use the background color property to make the background image not full with the rest of the page. So background attachment. So it should be fixed.